At some point or another, every OnlyFans management agency hits a plateau. Most agencies try to solve this by signing more models, trying out new traffic methods, or spending more money on paid ads. And most agencies are dead wrong. The right move is incredibly obvious, yet 90% of OF agency owners avoid it due to ego, laziness, or just plain ignorance. There is one skill that separates the five-figure agencies fighting tooth and nail to survive and the guys pulling down millions in revenue every month. If you want to build top 0.01% models and scale your agency to reach 6, 7, and 8 figures in monthly revenue, you cannot do it without understanding organic social media. And in this video, I'm going to give you the tools you need to make that strategic pivot before your agency gets left in the dust. I'm Francis, the founder of Milky Media. Milky is an OF management agency, consultancy, and product developer that has produced millions in revenue, millions of followers, and over 1 billion aggregate impressions for our clients. Social media is a complex and constantly changing subject, especially when it comes to promoting OnlyFans. There's so much to learn that despite the millions of dollars and billion-plus impressions I've generated, I still don't consider myself an expert, just a very competent student. Because organic social as a topic is way too huge to cover in a single video, this will be the first installment in a series, meaning that you should click that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos. Today, we're going to talk about the 3 core concepts that set the stage for this series. 1. Why organic social is the single highest leverage skill that you can learn to succeed at OFM. 2. What it actually means to get good at social media marketing. And 3. How to get good as efficiently as possible. First, why organic social? My argument is simple. Social media is the single largest economic opportunity in the history of human civilization, and failing to become exceptional at it, especially in our industry, is crippling you and your business. Here's why. In simplest terms, economics is a matter of supply and demand. Marketing is best defined as a mechanism by which people can manipulate the psychology of consumers and artificially create or stimulate demand to influence purchasing behavior. Even if you've never thought in those exact terms, if you're in the OnlyFans business, you know this to be true intuitively. When our customers see a hot girl in a bikini on Instagram, it produces an arousal response, and that arousal response in turn drives them to spend money on OF. Most of us take social media for granted as a fact of life. You use it for your models, but you probably see it as just one of many equally useful tools in your marketing stack. I'm going to shift the frame for you. Think back a few hundred years. For an overwhelming majority of human history, access to marketing of any scale was extremely limited because the tools humans used to spread information were expensive, inaccessible, difficult to use, or all of the above. Imagine trying to sell a product in a world prior to the printing press, when most people didn't even know how to read or write. You could only sell things to people in your immediate vicinity who you could literally walk up and speak to. This was true of all forms of information, but for the sake of time, we'll stay on topic and just stick to marketing. Every time humans developed new technology to spread information faster, marketing became marginally cheaper and more accessible, but was still out of reach to most. The first Gutenberg presses cost the equivalent of $250,000 today to build, and the material and labor costs to produce a Gutenberg Bible was about $10,000. In the 1800s, we developed newspaper printing, but only large media companies had the means to print and distribute newspapers to the public, and advertising in them was expensive and out of reach for most businesses. Step by step, we developed telegraphs, telephones, radio, television, the internet, and each step allowed incrementally more entrepreneurs to access the power of mass marketing. Today, around 5 billion people of the 8.2 billion people on Earth own smartphones. A majority of people alive today can, with very little effort, create a product and use social media to market that product to an audience of 5 billion people at functionally zero cost. Most people have absolutely no idea how significant this opportunity is. To 99% of its users, social media is a mind-numbing distraction that feeds them advertisements without their knowledge, which means that as entrepreneurs, we have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to market our products to a group of people that is hopelessly addicted to the best advertising medium ever conceived for free. Not only that, but once you understand how to work with them, social media algorithms will deliver your content directly to your target market at no additional cost. When you think about it that way, it's sort of insane to focus on mastering any other marketing funnel. I honestly have no idea why so few agencies genuinely attempt to master organic social. They will spend countless hours and dollars running dating app to Snapchat funnels, paid ads, black hat methods like phone farms and mother slave accounts, and trying to recruit tons of models, likely because that's what they see their peers doing. But there is no natural audience for this type of advertising. You're forcing your models down people's throats against their will, and it shows in the performance of those funnels. After all, what do those agencies get in return? For all that time and money, they're rewarded with awful conversion rates, dealing with scammy service providers, constant bans, and high model turnover. They work 10 times harder than vertically scaling agencies for 10 times more headache and 10 times less money than if they just got good at social media and focused on turning their top models into money printers. If that sounds like your agency, I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is you've misallocated time and resources, and you've got some catching up to do. The good news is that starting now will put you in an extremely advantageous position over your peers, and that will pay dividends over your career, and not just in OFL. So what does getting good at social media actually mean? In future videos, I'll get into how to improve at specific elements of organic social. For now, I want to describe what getting good actually means in this context. A huge misconception about organic social is that it's all about views. But for our purposes, views have no inherent value in a vacuum. While views are a large component of success, it's only because they're a leading indicator of what really matters, which is conversion. Getting good at organic social means being able to consistently produce content that converts non-followers to followers, aka going viral, and content that converts followers to paying subscribers on OF. There are two key requirements to begin the journey towards getting good: mindset and skill set. We'll start with mindset. This could be a video by itself, but I'll try to keep it brief. The most important thing to remember: stay humble. No matter how good you think you are, you can always improve, and there is always a next step on the ladder. Remember, there are 5 billion daily active social media users, so you haven't reached the actual top until you've reached all of them. The second most important thing to remember is that this is, at the end of the day, all about money. Organic social is a means to the end of scaling revenue. 90% of agencies, likely yourself included, scale horizontally by acquiring a bunch of, no offense, low-quality models and pumping out, no offense again, dog shit content. The most effective way to scale agency revenue via organic social is with a small number of highly performant models. We call this vertical scaling, like building a skyscraper. If vertical scaling is like a skyscraper, horizontal scaling is like 100 Section 8 houses, council houses for my friends across the pond. Horizontal scaling is all about breaking systems with black hat methodology, spamming thousands of iterations of your generic big booty Latinas to overwhelm the platforms that you use for marketing. If you're coming from this perspective for organic, you are going to fail. If you want to create million-dollar models, you can't expect to build a phone farm and spam thirst traps and trending audio to achieve success. Otherwise, every girl on OnlyFans would be a millionaire. Vertical scaling requires that you understand and work with the systems that you're exploiting. Luckily, this is, in my opinion, way easier than horizontal scaling. Instead of being a constant war with a given platform and dealing with daily bans and suspensions, you're simply following whatever behavior the algorithm for that platform actually incentivizes. That behavior will change over time, and you will have to adapt accordingly. But if you know what you're doing, the platform will want to serve your model's content, and it will do all of the heavy lifting for you. There are orders of magnitude fewer accounts to manage. You're just putting more effort into those accounts. In my personal opinion, vertical scaling produces substantially more revenue per unit of effort than horizontal scaling, which is why I'm such an evangelist for organic social. Here's a hypothetical. You're on a game show with 2 curtains. Behind one curtain are 10 models that make $10,000 a month. They're reasonably consistent, but they're never gonna make more than $10,000 a month. Behind the other curtain is a single model that makes $100,000 a month, and with the right guidance, she can likely make way more. There is simply no world where a rational person chooses curtain 1. No matter how you slice it, 10 models capped at $10K a month is more headache, more work, and less revenue in the long run. Deep down, every agency would rather manage one Sophie Rain than 100 generic salary models, and I'm giving you the blueprint to build your own. It's not just mindset though. Vertical scaling also requires a radically different skill set. Vertically scaling creative teams still require robust systems to scale, and building effective systems around the creative process is very different than traditional operations. The learning curve is steep, It is going to be frustrating, and there is no one-size-fits-all blueprint. Every model has a different path towards that top 0.01% and beyond. You need deep knowledge of the platforms you use, the best tools for each platform, etc., etc. Speaking of tools, one of the most powerful tools you can add to your marketing stack today is Harpoon. Harpoon is the only tool on the market that allows you to convert your model's most engaged social media followers into whales, paying subscribers who spend tens of thousands of dollars on their OnlyFans pages. If you don't intuitively understand the value of direct marketing campaigns to whales, check out some of the results we delivered for our customers. In some cases, Harpoon has increased revenue by as much as $50,000 per month for a single model. To learn more, check the link in the description or visit ofmharpoon.com to apply. Harpoon has completely de-risked their product for new customers. If you don't make double your subscription price back within your first month, you get a full refund, no questions asked. Back to the video. I'll get more into the tools Milky uses for organic social in future videos, so again, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that sauce. For now, I'm going to focus on the most important skill you will need to learn to succeed at organic social, and it has nothing to do with creative. If you're anything like most agencies I work with in my consulting practice, you probably do everything in your power to reduce the amount of work and interaction required when it comes to your models. To reduce the amount of work and interaction required with your models when it comes to social. You assign them to create tons of generic B-roll, maybe a variety of dances, some facial expressions, a little jiggle here, a little shake here. You probably let them maintain control of their socials and handle their own posting. All of those are mistakes. That might have worked fine in 2020. It isn't going to cut it anymore. If you want million-dollar models, you need to own the creative process from top to bottom, and your models need to work harder, a lot harder. I can already hear some of you. My models are lazy. They'll never do the work. You have somehow forgotten the M in OFM, management. People management is a skill, and until you learn it, nobody, not your peers, not your employees, and certainly not your models, are going to listen to anything you have to say. If you're watching this, you're probably super cool and handsome and rational. And as a rational person, you expect your models to also think rationally. You have made an error. You've likely said or thought some variation of this statement. If I could make $1,000 an hour doing social media, I'd figure out a way to work 18 hours a day. Wrong. The reality is, if you were a girl hot enough to make that kind of money, you would also expect the world to be handed to you on a silver platter with no work required. You'd be mad that you have to show hole on the internet to make a living instead of having some rich guy take care of all of your needs. And you'd probably try to make that everyone else's problem. Your job as a manager is to A, be more selective about the models you work with, B, shut all of that shit down, and C, figure out each model's unique psychology and do what's required to motivate them to perform just as you would with any other employee. Management is the billion-dollar skill, and the people who master it are rewarded appropriately. A model who naturally has great looks, a solid personality for socials, and the work ethic required to make millions is perhaps 1 in 100,000. And to be honest, if they had all of those things, they would do it on their own. You cannot count on finding these unicorns. Your models are not going to do anything of value without explicit guidance and instruction. Your job as a manager is to guide and instruct. The upside is that management is a skill that you need to succeed in any endeavor that requires the effort of multiple humans, so you might as well learn it anyway. Now, how do you get good at social media as efficiently as possible? How to get good is what I'll be covering over the course of this series. Mastering organic social requires hundreds of skills, and each of those skills are sufficiently deep that there are people who dedicate their entire lives to understanding just one of them. I spend basically every waking second of my life writing, researching, filming, editing, or consuming content. And some days, I still feel like I have barely scratched the surface. There are the audiovisual components like sound, lighting, cinematography, the storytelling components like script writing and long-term narrative development, the marketing components like branding and consumer psychology. It's an infinite rabbit hole. The important thing to remember is that you don't have to master every one of those skills to be successful. The further down the rabbit hole you go, the more you'll understand where your strengths and deficiencies are, what you need to improve, and the types of people that you'll need to hire to cover all of your bases. So don't get overwhelmed. For now, I'm going to give you the most basic foundational framework for how to improve that organic social as efficiently as possible. And it all boils down to volume. This is a lesson that took me way too long to internalize, and I see creators and agency owners mess it up constantly. The quality versus quantity debate. Should I post fewer high-effort pieces Or should I pump out more even if they're not perfect? If you're coming from the horizontally scaling perspective, you probably think it's all about quantity. If you're more like me, you probably think it's all about quality. The truth is that it's both, in tandem, in a sort of ladder formation. Let me walk you through what I did wrong and how I think you should approach this, especially if you're building from zero. I used to be firmly in the quality first camp. I thought fewer, higher effort pieces would win out. For short form, that often looked like spending 4 to 8 hours on a single reel and only posting once a day. Growth was steady, but also slow. The fundamental problem of this approach is that I assumed the platform cared about my definition of quality. I assumed that if I spent more time on a piece of content, the algorithm would reward me. But quality is a bet. You're betting that the content economy is going to enjoy and appreciate the same things that you do. And often, that bet doesn't pay off. The result is that you're putting way too much time and way too much risk on too few repetitions. Quantity spreads the risk. It gives you more surface area for success. The more you put out, the higher your chances of getting one reel that goes viral. The goal of any social media platform is to keep people on the platform, and accordingly, they reward consistency and volume. They're biased towards creators who give them more chances to find a winning piece of content. Here's a simple 4-step framework that you can implement today that will start improving your results immediately. Step 1, hit a minimum viable quality. Your first goal is to get your content to a 7 out of 10 quality level as fast as possible. That's the floor. Anything under a 7 is guaranteed to flop. Anything over a 7 has at least a chance at performing well. In the context of OnlyFans, a 7 can look like a lot of different things. My basic formula is this. 1. Does the content look and sound good? Is there decent lighting, good camera quality, and clean, clear sound? This is a non-negotiable. If your content looks and sounds like shit, it doesn't matter how well written or conceptually good it is. Packaging is king. 2. Does the content have a solid hook? Is there something going on in that first 2 to 3 seconds that immediately captures the viewer's attention? If not, back to the drawing board. 3. Does the content match your brand? Just because a type of content is trending doesn't mean it makes sense for your creator. If your model exclusively makes content that appeals to, let's say, blue-collar men, outdoors, fishing, hunting, etc., then suddenly she starts making office worker content, the algorithm isn't just going to recognize that shift and change your audience. It's going to serve that content to blue-collar men, and you're going to alienate your core audience for basically no upside. It would be like if we were having a conversation in English, och jag börjar prata svenska. 4. Does the content provide value to the viewer? This is the most subjective, and where most OF creators get lost. Thirst traps and trending audio have their place. They are a great weapon to have in your content arsenal, and they can individually produce good results, but you cannot build a brand off of them. Every content creator does this, and your goal is to differentiate your creator. Providing value means not just figuring out your target audience, but what your target audience wants to hear and what will keep them coming back for more and influencing purchasing behavior. The first 3 are non-negotiable. Every piece of content needs to look and sound good, have a hook, and align with and grow your brand. Value on the short-form platforms is subjective and tough to nail down, but you'll get an intuitive sense for it over time. Entertainment can be value. Just remember, you're not aiming for perfection or reps here. You're laser focused on getting to that 7 out of 10 baseline. Step 2, lock in optimal platform volume. Once you've reliably started to produce 7 out of 10 content, your entire focus shifts to hitting the volume ceiling for each platform that you're posting on. For short form, you need a minimum of 1 post a day, every day, no exceptions. As you scale, that number only goes up. More on that in step 4. Do not fall into the trap of trying to improve from a 7 to an 8 before you scale up volume. When it comes to OF content, optimizing for quality is a mistake. Again, don't assume that your idea of quality and the platform's idea of quality are the same thing. Stay at a 7 and build the systems to consistently hit and increase volume. By committing to quantity, your quality will naturally start to creep up. Your storytelling, your editing, your hooks, everything else will level up as a byproduct of volume. This also kills perfectionism. You don't have the time to overthink and over-edit when you're posting 100 times a week. You put out the content, figure out what works, and iterate reactively. That brings us to step 3. Repeat what works. When you start scaling volume, you will figure out very quickly what the algorithm likes and doesn't like. And when you do get a viral post, and I guarantee you will if you're meeting those minimum volume requirements, double, triple, and quadruple down. You'll be shocked at what goes viral. I have spent an entire week writing, shooting, and editing a single piece of short-form content that underperforms, and I've seen random B-roll shots with text that I almost didn't post get 20 million views. When you get a winner, analyze it and repeat it. Milk that video dry. Make 10 different versions in 10 different outfits, post them on different days, and make slight alterations for A/B testing. Figure out why it worked so that you can replicate the result with other concepts. If something wins hard, you can even straight up repost it down the road with no changes. I strongly recommend that you use a robust file management system. My team has a Dropbox, and in that Dropbox is a folder called Hall of Fame. Every time a post gets 1 million+ views, it goes into the Hall of Fame. And 30 to 60 days after it was posted the first time, we just post it again. 9 times out of 10, it either matches the performance of the last time we posted it, or it does even better. Step 4, double the volume. This is where very few make it and where the Camillas and Sophie Rains of the world live. My top creator right now is a 0.01% creator pulling down $300,000 a month. And she puts out 4 to 5 unique reels per day on her primary page and 1 per day on 3 other pages, plus 4 carousels, plus stories. That's 16 to 20 unique pieces of content every single day. That is what it takes to get to 0.01%. At that point, you're operating at 9 out of 10 quality and world-class volume. It takes time, it takes systems, and it takes expertise. But once you get to this point, it's actually pretty easy to maintain and grow because you've laid all of the groundwork. You're printing money, you're untouchable in your niche, and you're doing more, better, faster, and the algorithm knows it. This is the opposite of what most people think. Everyone wants to make better content. Nobody wants to make more content. But if you want to scale as an OFM agency or even as a creator, volume is the only way to find your winners, build leverage, and train the algorithm to take you seriously. So again, the formula is this. 1, hit that 7 out of 10 quality floor. 2, reach optimal platform volume. 3, repeat your winners. And 4, double, triple, and quadruple the volume. This is the blueprint. If you follow it, you cannot lose. If you're still watching, you already understand how high the ceiling is and how much money is being left on the table by agencies that refuse to get serious about organic. Don't be one of them. You now have the blueprint. The only thing standing between your agency and a model making 100K plus per month is execution, systems, and volume. This game is not about who works the hardest. It's about who learns the fastest, tests the fastest, and scales what works before everyone else figures it out. If you got value from this, do me a favor. Like the video, subscribe to this channel, and check out our video, Stop Finding OnlyFans Niches, Start Building OnlyFans Brands. That video will give you some more food for thought while you wait for the next one. Because this is just the beginning. Let's build. See you in the next one.